Hello everyone. So today I have a combination challenge that I'm putting up for you guys. This is a combo of the Counterfeit Kit challenge and Mix It Up Monday. The sketch that you're seeing is the one that we are doing for the Mix It Up Monday challenge, where we also use mixed media as well. So for this layout, I am digging into my February Counterfeit kit, and what you see there, I have one of the papers from 49 and Market's Alina collection, and so I'm going to do things just a little bit differently. I have that paper from Alina that I'm going to go ahead and make into the wedges that were on the sketch. And then I'm also using one of Vicky Bouton's mixed media papers, because it's real thick and it handles the water really well, because I'm going to be doing quite a bit of mixed media on the back of the page. So that's basically what I'm using. And then there'll be one more sheet later on that I bring out for you. And you'll see it a little bit later. But right now, like I said, what I'm doing is I'm making those wedges. Initially, I started off with 3. You saw me just cut 3 different lengths of paper here, and I'm just kind of measuring out it. I think I end up going on the shorter end is about 2.5 inches, and then the other side is about 3.5 inches. So I've got, kind of like a slope of like a 1 inch down there. And that's what I'm going to make into the wedges that were on the sketch that we're using today for Mix It Up Monday. So I started off, like I said, with 3 of these. I was going to make 3 wedges, and then I decided that I was only going to do 2. So you're going to see me here. I'm going to show you how I cut the first one out, and then I just used the one that I'm going to cut out here in a second. See, I was going to go with 3, but I do decide against that because I have an idea as I'm working on this of what I want to do. So I'm going to show you how I cut the wedges out. Like I said, 3.5 inches on the long side and 2.5 inches on the shorter side. And then I do scuff up the edges on all of these because I do prefer just that scuffed up look. So that's kind of what the wedges are going to look like. And here I'm going to go and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut out the second one. I'm going to use the first one as a template. So here you see I've got 2 there. I decided that's what I wanted to do because I want more of the mixed media that I'm going to be doing to show. So I just kind of marked up my background page there to show where I'm going to put the wedges. And I'm going to use just kind of like the scrunchy method to first put on my first color. I'm going to use 2 colors of Shimmer's paints. This is Orange Sherbet, and it is an original shimmer, so it's really, really sparkly, and it's nice and thick because it comes with its liquid already in there. However, I do have to say my liquid dries up in this pot, so I have to just add water to it like I do the other ones, but it is still amazingly thick, a lot thicker than the other ones, even though I have to add water to it because my liquid for some reason keeps drying up, even though I always have it my lid on tight. I'm not really sure why. I have a couple of these original shimmers that do that, and I'm not exactly sure why it does that. Maybe it does that for everybody. I did try, I added a little bit more water to the shimmers because I wanted it to be a little bit more blended than it came out with the scrunchy method there. And you're going to see me do this a few times. I'm going to add water to it to just kind of get the fade that I want. That's the word I'm looking for, fade. Right now I am using the second color of shimmers, and this is called Sun-Kissed, and it's an Inklings. So this one I did have to add water to it. It's in the little dried paints. And this is just like a really, really light, almost like nude peachy color. And I like how it kind of blends off into like almost there being nothing there. So I'm doing the same technique as I put it on. This one I just added with my paintbrush. I didn't use a scrunchy technique because I decided I didn't really want the pattern that was coming up with using the baggie. So I just used a nice thick paintbrush and went ahead and just kind of blended it out. I am putting splatters on right now, but in a second I'm going to end up blending it together because I felt like it just needed more blending. So I just kind of wasted my time putting those splatters on there because you're not going to be able to see them because I'm going to come back in with some water and they're all going to go away. So yeah, you see me looking at it there, and I'm just not quite happy with the blending that is happening on it. I decide that I want more. So you're going to see me come in here in just a second with my paintbrush again, and I'm just adding water and just kind of blending that out a bit more so that it doesn't stop so abruptly all over the place and just kind of, stretches along the paper. This Vicky Bouton mixed media paper can take a lot of water. Yes, there is some warping in it. I just laid it down underneath something heavy once I got it dried, and it's pretty flat, but yes, it will still warp, but it's not as bad as if you're using a regular weight paper because this stuff is pretty thick and it takes a lot of water. As you can see, I've been adding water to it. So that's pretty much how it's going to stay. And I'm just putting these on to make sure that I like it and I have the placement correct on there. And I do like it. So I set that background aside to dry, and now I'm going to scuff up the edges of these little wedges. And as I'm doing this, I kind of decide that I don't want the wedges to go all the way to the edge of the paper. I want there to be a little bit of white showing all the way around them. So I do trim them down just a little bit. And here I started to try to measure that, and I realized, wait, I could just put it on top of the other one and I could cut them both the same size. So it took me a second to use my brain there a little bit and get them both the same size. I don't know. Sometimes we just make things a little more difficult for ourselves, don't we? We really don't need to, but we overthink it, or we just are in a hurry and we don't really think about the best way to do something. And that happened to be one of those times for me. So here we go. These are all scuffed up. And I'm going to cut away here in a second. And when I come back, I think that I have them all tacked down on. Oh, nope, I lied. I don't have them tacked down yet. Now I'm going to do my stamping. So I got this beautiful stamp set. I think it's a Bo Bunny stamp set. I may be wrong because I'm not looking at the packaging right now, but that's what I think it is. And I got it from my Cherry Box subscription this month. And what I kind of had in mind was to have this trail of butterflies going kind of up the paper and starting on, I don't know, just kind of doing this diagonal trail up the paper. So, and I kind of had this in my mind the whole time of that I would do this in the white spaces. But I decided to just leave that center one blank so that I could have more butterflies and kind of just create my own background paper here. So I'm just using all of these different little size butterflies. Aren't these gorgeous? I was so excited when I saw this was coming in the Cherry Box. This stamp set is part of the reason that I got it this month, because I just really, really loved this stamp set. So, yep, I'm using them. I'm going to feature these beautiful butterflies all over this paper. And I'm letting you see the whole process here of putting these butterflies on, just because, years and years ago, I did so much more stamping than I do now. That was like my thing. I loved creating my own background paper, and I still do, because you can create something that nobody else has. It's going to be completely original to you. And so I really love being able to use stamps to create that. And this vision that I had, I could make that come to life with these stamp sets. I could never find a paper that was exactly what was in my mind, but I could create it myself. So that's all I'm going to do on the top, and see how it's kind of going in a diagonal, but I do have these couple little, rogue butterflies that are just doing their own thing there. And I just love that because they're just off on their own. They've gotten ahead of their group, and they just add so much interest to this. What I'm doing right now is I only want just a little portion of that stamp. I don't need the whole thing. So I just inked just the portion that I wanted there. And I just did that by instead of rubbing the stamp on the stamp pad, I picked up the stamp pad and rubbed the stamp pad on just a section of the stamp that I wanted to ink. That was something I learned back in the day when I was working with a lot of stamping. I worked with Stampin' Up! Mostly, and I was a demonstrator for them. And so I kind of learned some of those techniques in how you could just use parts of the stamp back then. So after I got my wedges tacked down, I decided that some of the butterflies I wanted to darken in with a little bit of that darker orange, which is the orange sherbet. And so I'm just going to kind of randomly go about and pick a few of the butterflies in each little cluster of butterflies. And I'm going to color in their like clear or white spots. I guess they're white spots with this darker orange, so they stand out a little bit more in the page. And I really love how this ends up looking. Not only does it, emphasize a few of those butterflies, but it adds so much more sparkle with that shimmers, that original shimmers. I just love that stuff. It's so thick and it's so sparkly and shimmery. It's just so beautiful. I'd love to use that stuff. Shimmers is probably one of my very favorite mixed media items to use on my pages. It just adds so much prettiness, and I just love pretty sparkly things. So here we go. I'm just about done with that, and I do set that side aside to dry for a little bit before I keep going. That one up on the top, I just kind of had a lot of product on it because it was the first one I did, and I wasn't quite sure yet how much product I needed, so I'm just blending that in a bit. So I'm setting that aside to dry, and while I do that, I'm going to go ahead and map my photos. This is a paper from Paige Evans. I believe it's Garden Shop. It could be Bungalow Lane though, because I have both in my kit here, and so I apologize that I'm not quite sure which one that came from, but it's either Bungalow Lane or Garden Shop. And I'm going to mat all three of my photos. They're of my sweet dogs, Fiona and Izzy. Fiona's the little one and Izzy's the lab mix. And we were just sitting outside. It was a beautiful day. And Fiona was sitting up in one of our chairs with I think her little paws are crossed in that picture. They might not be there, but she did have them crossed at one point. And I just thought, that would be a perfect little picture. This was like in December, so I mean it looks like fall, but it's kind of fall in the Houston area in December. That's about when our leaves start to fall off. So they're sitting out there outside in the sunshine. I did skip ahead a little bit because I didn't think you needed to see me fuss around. I went ahead and I grabbed some embellishments out of the Alina ephemera pack, and a little bit like the one that looks like a charm and some twine that's wrapped around the topped pictures. That actually came out of the laser cut pieces that come with the Alina collection. As do all of the butterflies I grabbed, except for the big blue one. The big blue one was in the ephemera. And now I think that's a Paige Evans sticker sheet. Hopefully I will hold it up here. Yes, it's a Paige Evans sticker sheet. I just grabbed a sticker from that says Better Together, and I have that up above the picture of Izzy. I'm going to go ahead here and just glue down my photos because I do like the placement of them, and I don't want them to move. So I went ahead and did that. And above the picture of Fiona there up on the top, I put one of the tabs that I got out of the ephemera kit. I don't use very much ephemera or embellishments as a whole on this sheet, on this layout. Generally, I use a ton of embellishments, but because of how busy this page is on its own, with the background and all the mixed media and the butterflies, it just really didn't need much else. Honestly, it would be too cluttered if I had added a lot more to it. So I really restrained myself on this page, which is not normal for me when it comes to ephemera. So I have a lot more ephemera left to use with the rest of my kit. I grabbed like this, what looks like a ticket that says One Fine Day, and I really like how that looks over there on the right hand side of the picture of the two dogs together. So I went ahead and put that on. I am going to grab, I'm not sure if I grab it now. I might grab it later, but I do end up coming. Oh, there's a sticker that I'm going to put up on that tab. It says You Plus Me, and I thought that was really cute for the dogs. I do fuss around with this sticker a few times. I think I take it off and on about 3 times just to get it in the right spot. I'm finally happy with it there, so I'm going to put a little bit of dimensional adhesive on the top so that it just sticks up just a bit, and a little bit of liquid glue there on the bottom. And I do like that. I think that that looks really cute. I love the 2 little tabs on the top. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to glue this piece of twine down with some wet glue. I skipped ahead there so you didn't have to watch me put all the wet glue on, because that is kind of boring to watch there. I'm looking right now, I kind of lost that little charm. It's right there on the left-hand side. I'm just not seeing it, but in a minute I will find it again. I'm going to go ahead and tack down the rest of what I have here on the bottom, which is a little saying that says All Good Things. And then you saw me put some glue on that orange butterfly. I set it aside for a minute because I realized I needed to tack down the All Good Things first, and now the butterfly. And I love the placement of that. I think it just looks really organic and sweet in that area, kind of half covering up the little sentiment. And then that big blue butterfly I'm going to put up at the top of that photo. And now I'm going to tack down those 2 little orange and blue butterflies up at the top. I do end up moving this orange guy just a little. I didn't quite like his placement at first, so I had to put a little more glue on him. I am bending up the wings on these butterflies, but I am not putting adhesive underneath them. I don't mind if they flatten out a bit in my album. Usually they don't. They usually do hold their shape quite well, even though I do have a very thick album. There you go. There I found that little, it looks almost like a locket. It's like a charm, a little heart charm. I think it's so sweet. But as I was saying, generally my dimension does stay even if I don't add adhesive or like foam underneath the wings. They generally stay kind of stuck up a little bit. So I don't really find that I need to add that dimensional foam underneath the wings very often. All right, so here we go. There's that charm there. And I think that looks really, really sweet. It worked out really perfectly for that loop also on the top of that twine. Because it doesn't cover up anybody. It just fits kind of in that dead space. So it worked really well. Right now I'm using some washi. I never use washi, guys, ever. I have a bunch of it and I just always forget to use it. This I got in my cherry box along with the stamp that you saw me use, and it looks like stitching. And so I thought, how perfect. I can make this look like I stitched on it, but I can just use this washi. So I decided to do that along both edges of both of the wedges here. And I love what it adds to it. It gives it just a little bit more of that messy vibe that I love so much. I'm just really into the vintage look. That's why I really love 49 and Market. I love Simple Stories, Simple Vintage Collections, all of that stuff. You'll see me use quite a bit of that because that's just kind of what I'm into right now. This title I got from, I believe that is a Simple Stories foam sticker. And I'm forgetting which collection it is for right now. I apologize for that, but I just grabbed the puffy that says happy on it. I don't know if I love that title that much, but I really did stick to just using my kit. And that was the best title that I found for this particular layout with my dogs on it. You know, I might have preferred like just a white, and I do have some that's just white, but I didn't have the right sentiment that I wanted. And I didn't want to use my letters that I had there because honestly, I was being lazy. And that's kind of why I didn't use a white one either, because I have to glue down every one because the adhesive's not that great on it. So yeah, I was being kind of lazy. I'm not going to lie about that. I found this pretty little gold foiled heart stamp. And so I'm going to pop up the top portion of that pretty little heart stamp there, just so it kind of sticks up a bit, gives it just a tiny bit of dimension. And then I'm going to finish this off with a few gold heart stickers off from that same Paige Evans sticker sheet. I do move this a little bit because I didn't like how that looked. So I do move it just a little bit closer, and I think that's the last of it. I know I picked it up there to look at it real quick. Oh no, I do add a little journaling. I just put that it was December 2022 so that I would remember when these pictures were taken. And guys, I think that's it. So here's the close-up. You can see how shimmery, look at how beautiful and shimmery that orange is. And I love the 2 shades of orange. Here's all of the dimension, just the little butterfly sticking up just a little bit. Love that twine. I just think it is super cool. Love those laser cut elements in the 49 and Market collections. And there's the little bottom cluster there with our title. And I hope you guys liked this layout. And if you do, please go ahead and go into my channel and see my other videos. Hopefully you'll find more that you like. And then go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you do. And please look for other people's takes on these challenges. And I hope you have an awesome day. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.